Hello and welcome to Official Nintendo Magazine podcast number 7. Don't know if you've noticed that awesome new intro there. Who sent that in, Chris?
That was sent in by Matthew Davidson. We'll be hearing more of his work later on.
Yeah, he sent us a load of jingles which are really good.
Pretty damn good.
Far better than the people who make this podcast, i.e. us, has bothered to actually do. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Nice work, Matthew, and thanks for sending those in. Hello once again. We're here to talk about Official Nintendo Magazine issue 54, on sale now. There's no doubt about the big game this month. It's Super Mario Galaxy 2. We went down to the O2 a couple of weeks ago to play it all.
Not all of it.
Well,
was that all of it? Is that the whole game?
Yeah, it was pretty short.
The 8 games, the 8 levels.
Let
sorry.
down.
Yeah. Yeah, what did you all think of it?
It was rubbish.
I thought the queue was amazing.
The queue was amazing.
Yeah, the queue was really good. No, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't judge the whole game based on a few levels, but if the rest of the game is as good as that, then it's another cracker.
It was properly hard as well. Really, really hard. That flip switch, I don't know if anyone's seen it online or has read about it in the mag, but there's a galaxy where you jump and do a spin attack, and every time you do a spin attack, the platforms underneath you flip around.
Yeah.
So you've got to jump around and spin at the right times, and it's
ridiculously hard,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah.
And
But
really
I mean,
hard.
that's a good shot.
but not sort of unfairly hard. Like every time I died, which was many times.
Yeah.
It's like, you got me, fair play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it was like, yeah, I did actually mess that up myself. That was
Do you
my
think-
fault.
Do you think Nintendo were making a special effort to show us the hardest level they've come up with, or do you think it's sort of indicative?
I think so, you know. I think they're aware of the fairly silly accusations that are levelled at Nintendo for, you know, deserting the hardcore and all that nonsense.
yeah.
And they're hitting back with Galaxy 2, which is pretty much the hardcore's dream.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
some
dear.
microphone issues there. Galaxy 2, which is pretty much a hardcore dream, and
Yeah.
then a new version of Metroid, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And Galaxy 2 is actually really hard, and
Yeah.
I can't see any of these accusations continuing. Although I'm sure
No.
they will.
I mean, you did get people in the past saying, yeah, Galaxy 1 was quite easy, but you're thinking, well,
It's not.
what was it?
It's
I
not
mean,
what
like,
you say.
it's,
Who
it's
said
easy.
that?
It's easy to get. Well, it's easy
You're
to
a
complete the
ninja.
game with the bare minimum. But if you want to get all
Yeah.
242
299,000,
stars,
yeah.
then yeah, it's not
Yeah.
easy. It's
Well, I haven't even got 120.
get out.
I think I got 100 over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, it's taken me 2 years to do that.
But then one weekend. That's pretty good going.
Yeah, so
We did like it.
personal
though.
highlights.
Yoshi was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a very cool Galaxy where I can't remember what it was called. It says in the magazine. I should probably bear that in mind. Where you are on Yoshi and you've got to eat some bullet bills and then fire them back through scenery to sort of smash it. Like there's those sort of big glass domes. You're on a moving platform, moving towards one of these dome things, and you've got to eat a bullet bill, spit it back into the dome thing so you can continue. And it's
Don't try this at home, kids.
There's
I believe that. I believe
a
that,
lot going on.
I believe that level's called Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It was
Fact fans.
a fearsome fleet.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the bit where you ate the berry and you inflate you on Yoshi and you get Yoshi to eat the little
That was
crisp.
Oh yeah, the
very
blimp
good.
fruit.
Blimp fruit.
Yeah.
I kept forgetting the name of
around.
that during the process of last month's magazine. And
Yeah, what's the name of that
like,
blimp fruit?
gas banana, or like oxygen
Air
apple.
berries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
definitely blimp
it was
fruit.
it was a fun time. I'm not sure we could say much else. It's all in the mag. There's
On sale
loads and
now,
loads
is that?
loads of info in the mag. Sorry,
Is that the mag that's on sale now?
I believe it is on sale now.
Oh,
Yes,
that's okay.
£3.99.
Is that all?
It's not all.
Still only
It's not all,
£3.99.
Christopher.
Oh.
Do we go through this charade every month?
Yes, we do.
Well, okay.
Did I get anything else other than just the magazine? The magazine's great. Don't get me wrong, the magazine's great, but
that is true.
I mean, sometimes I'm sitting reading it and maybe say my fridge will be looking rather upset because it's not getting in the action. What can my fridge do to get in the action this month?
Well,
Got a sentient bean.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I was thinking something maybe in the way of fridge magnets or something.
well, yeah. There is funny you
I
should
see.
mention that, Chris. There's a Mario Galaxy themed set of magnets.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Ideal for the fridge or any other magnetic surface.
For all your magnetic needs.
Yeah. Don't put them on the side of a telly, which I put some magnets on the side of a telly as a boy, and I was briskly reprimanded by my mother for making all the colours go all weird.
Don't
I'd be doing
pass
that
them over
again.
your laptop or your camera in case you...
Yeah. Actually,
Might wipe
we've
your-
given away quite a perilous gift.
Yeah.
It could ruin various
Oyster
items of
cards,
technology.
credit cards, all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, all out the window.
Although having said that, if robots do eventually take over the Earth, just slap a toad magnet on their job done. Just wipe their memory.
Instant shutdown.
Exactly. So it's actually the best free gift ever because
Yeah,
it actually
absolutely.
saves the world from
No, they are.
robot warlords.
Actually, to be honest, I don't think they're going to do much harm even if you do whack them in. Just to make that clear.
The magnetic field is not
Yeah.
particularly
It's
strong.
not like a
not gonna
Star
alter the
Wars
Earth's
grade
axis, is it?
tractor beam or anything.
It'll stick to your fridge.
Yeah,
But
they'll
no-
stick to your fridge or some metal shelves, which I have behind me at work.
I would think around about 60 to 65% of people would put them on either the fridge or the radiator.
Yeah.
I think that's the popular choices.
What are the other percentage can be doing with
robots.
the magnets, Chris? Robots. Yeah.
Robots, the aforementioned robots, laptops, monitors, visual memory units from Dreamcast days. Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, don't.
That ruin it. Yeah, so that's on sale now. There's loads of other Mario Galaxy 2 fun inside. A spectacular 8-page preview.
Count them.
Count them.
Pages.
If you can count up to 8, then job done. What else? Did anyone go on the tiny... I'm looking at the screens now.
Yeah, Supermassive Galaxy.
I didn't go on that one.
Yeah, it was great. It was really difficult though. There was like two
I'm
big...
so into that.
There's like loads of... There's
Since
like
the
two
days of
piranha
Mario
plants.
3.
It's essentially like the tiny huge island
Yeah.
in Mario 64 and World 4 and Mario 3, which is like
Yeah.
big enemies. But
Awesome.
it's pretty tough. Like,
That was really hard. There was that one ridiculous jump you had to do across the platforms, which kept disappearing.
Yeah, they're much bigger than they were in the previous games. Like the difference in scale. There's a point where you have to wall jump up off a coin because the coins are so big that you can literally grab onto them and jump off. So
That
it's like
is
you
cool.
wall jump between a wall and a coin just to get up a simple block.
Mm.
But yeah, it's great. But then there's a bit right at the end with these really big wigglers like going through this cylindrical thing, which is almost impossible.
I mean, like, it does bear mentioning that you've got to for all of the levels, you've got to practice your long jump, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Some
And
big leaps.
Yeah.
now, time for some wild and unfounded speculation.
Not
the
like
hub
us.
world from Galaxy 1,
Mm.
that's not going to return, is it? By the looks of this screenshot, it looks like there's a normal sort of map progression.
It certainly does look like that.
New
With
Super Mario
various
Brothers
worlds.
style.
Mm.
1, 2,
Yeah.
however many.
But we should make it clear that nobody knows yet because the
Yeah.
version we played was literally just a list of levels.
Yeah.
So
We didn't get to see
Nintendo's
any of that
keeping
hub
it-
stuff.
no, Nintendo's keeping it tight-lipped
And
at the moment.
I'll be honest, I'm not really that much of a fan of that Galaxy hub thing.
Yeah.
I just want to get to some, like, especially where I'm at now, 2 years on, still not even up to 120 stars. I want to get to the levels I need to get to
Yeah.
quickly.
Is that
I don't want to just, like, you have to, like, go on those light things, beam things,
Yeah.
What about Super Mario 64
all the way up to the top,
hub?
and it's like, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the 64 hub though?
That was quite
Running
simple,
around the
wasn't it?
castle?
I thought that was really nice. Yeah.
I hated the one in Sunshine.
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a mess.
pathetic.
Yeah.
Well, slightly harsh, but annoying. Kicking fruit about.
Yeah. God, there was that. What is that infuriating mission where you're on Yoshi and you've got to eat certain colour of fruit
Oh yeah, yeah.
in order to
I blocked
shoot platforms or something. Oh God, I think I gave up. after that point.
No, the worst one. Well, we're talking about the worst bits in Sunshine. The
Slightly
hotel,
off topic.
the hotel level, which basically
That
was
was
just a hotel. you know,
Also, when we had to like jump about on the giant Ferris wheel,
Oh,
which,
yeah,
which was
yeah.
borderline impossible.
yeah. I say it's a decent game. Before anyone
So it
starts saying,
still looks great, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it still looks amazing.
It really does. Those I can't remember what the level's called, but there's one which is kind of like a forest, and there's a whole sort of underworld to it.
Mm.
I'm being incredibly vague here, but I just remember thinking this looks amazing at
Yeah.
the time, and the music's always great, isn't it?
It would have been good to do a new play control version of that. Like if you could use the pointer to aim where you're firing your
Yeah, that'd be quite
Flood.
cool.
firing flood.
Yeah,
Not to worry.
maybe we should. I'd like to see the return of Flood, but in a
Well,
sort of gangster style called Blood, where
He just pops caps instead
yeah,
of firing.
he just pops a cap in various Pianta's asses. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unlikely. So that's
But also,
analysis
there's,
of Galaxy 2 done.
If you look at one of the screens, there's the Piantas do appear to be making a reappearance.
They do,
in
yes.
Galaxy 2.
That's
Not
true.
which not perhaps everyone will be happy about. But
I think they're right.
I don't like them.
deal with it.
I mean,
it's the one part. I don't know. I just think they're really dull, soulless characters. I don't think
they're
they're.
okay.
I mean, I don't get me
Fairly
wrong.
harmless.
I actually enjoyed a few flaws aside. I enjoyed Sunshine, but I didn't like them as characters. I thought they were a bit. They didn't have the sort of personality that other Mario characters do.
Mm.
So yeah.
And going back to the hub world debate, I've seen some people on our site say that the Mario Planet Head thing is going to be the hub, but I don't think that's. I don't think that's
I
right.
think they're probably very wrong.
I think that's just a
It's
part of the
rare.
level.
It's rare that people on the website
Well,
are wrong about things.
It
But,
is very rare.
but I think that in that particular situation, they're wrong.
Look at that bird thing.
Well,
you
I
can't
mean-
see this, obviously, because this is all audio based.
Look at that bird thing.
There's a really cool bird.
That's awesome, isn't
That
it?
does look good, yeah.
It's like the owl from Mario 64
Yeah.
to take you up.
Anyway, yeah, as you can tell,
It's been on.
the pure excitement of just flicking through a magazine is
It's quite something.
has sort of derailed this podcast a little bit.
Yeah.
So, final conclusions on Galaxy 2.
It's good.
Awesome,
At least 80%.
if they're lucky.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yep, it's got more than 3 coins in.
What's balloon fight got to do with anything?
My
Well, it's
expectations
quite
for it have balloons since
Okay,
playing
right.
it.
Very good.
I
Yeah.
downloaded Balloon Fight a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, is that
Pretty
right?
good, yeah. I like the
Balloons.
sort of endless mode.
Yeah, we just keep going.
It's better than the actual game, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, another off topic. Derailment. And second to that, but not that far second, it's Metroid Other M.
That was
Which
that
was-
all right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Quite enjoyed
Completely.
That. Yeah.
It was absolutely the unknown quantity. Like, none of us had a clue what we were
Yeah.
going to see when we
When
went in.
that Dutch fella told us that we were going to be playing it using the Wii remote on its side,
Yeah.
I was like, hang on a minute,
no.
what's going to happen
You've
here?
broken it.
It's going to be like Side Truck, isn't it? But with a morph ball.
I'd love that.
Fortunately, it was pretty
Yeah.
epic, wasn't it? All those cutscenes. That opening cutscene was amazing.
It was
Yeah.
a bit
Really,
Metal
really
Gear,
good.
wasn't it? It was a bit Kojima.
Yeah.
It's like, cut it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and the game itself, pretty unexpected as well. The
Yeah.
whole mechanic of it, just in case you haven't read the magazine already, and if you haven't,
Sounds
Sort
shame
it
on
out.
you.
Yeah.
The mechanic goes as Simon says. You hold the remote on its side. You control Samus with the D-pad. Jumping and shooting is on 1 and 2, and then you can flip and point the pointer at the TV, and it goes into first person. And from there, you can sort of look around and scan objects and use missiles and stuff. So I'd be interested to see how they fuse those two things together, because I guess we all got to the same point in the demo when we did that
Roughly,
boss,
yeah.
Yeah.
where you had to. Well, you were with the stereotypical
Marine
Space
team.
Marine
Yeah.
dudes, and you were battling this purple thing alongside them. and they would freeze it with their freeze guns, and then you had to flip into first person and unleash some missiles.
Yeah.
I've not played anything like that before.
No, I
completely
really liked
unique.
it.
Pretty
Yeah.
And it's also nice the fact that that was only like 20 minutes into the game, and even though it's a new kind of control system idea, you kind of properly get in it. It takes a really short time to learn
Yeah.
how to get used to it. So it's like, you've got the control on the side, so you're dodging the attacks this thing does until it gets frozen, then you quickly point at the screen, shoot it, and flip back to controller on its side again. It just works really well.
Yeah,
Be interesting to see later on as well whether that sort of, the squad thing comes into play more.
Mm.
Whether you're relying on Commander Malkovich and his team to sort of, get you out of situations and stuff like that, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That'd be quite good.
Very intrigued to see more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I thought the bit. I mean, I thought that the new mechanic worked quite well, but the bit I enjoyed most was just the sort of basic side scroll.
Yeah, it was very
action.
fast
It was
as well,
just
wasn't it?
really
Yeah,
cool to see that element back, because although it is sort of in 3D, it is essentially kind of a 2D game where you can move in the same way as something like Streets of Rage, where you can move in and out of the scenery, but is essentially on a linear path.
Yeah. It's very Ninja Gaiden, isn't it?
Yeah,
Those sections.
and
She
that was
really
just-
legs it about.
She legs it about, and it was really cool. I just really enjoyed it, and people worried about the game losing that exploration element needn't worry,
I
because
think there's going to be loads of that.
there's within about 5 minutes I was sort of not quite a loss, but there were so many different paths and little things.
There was lots of
areas
branching
to
corridors, weren't
explore,
there? Yeah.
and there's lots of little bits you could roll your ball into to find power ups and whatnot.
Yeah.
And again, people seem to be worried that the sort of solitude of a Metroid game, it's sort of a lonely hero. That element's going to be gone because of this new team mechanic, but that wasn't really a problem either. Like you got to the boss fight and they were there. Just one boss fight, and then you get sent on your way again, and you're off in this huge empty sort of.
The
space
excuse for that
station.
is that you're all stationed around different parts of the ship.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
so you all, I would imagine, you all just go out, do your own thing, then come back.
Yeah. It's a clever
fight
idea
fight a
because
boss.
it keeps the Metroid kind of, she's on her own thing for the most part, because for the most part she is on her own, so it's still got the solitude, but then when you meet up with people, it adds a story aspect that they want to put in as well, because she's actually interacting with people as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
It's
cool.
I thought-
a fascinating thing.
I thought it played a bit like that opening level on the space station in Metroid Prime. Where you've got all the abilities and you're just sort of getting used to how it all works and stuff. And I think it was kind of similar to that. And then you'll sort of go off into an alien world and stuff, and
Yeah.
be on your own for a bit, and then meet up with people variously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a clever thing they did, like, to make her lose all her abilities, because it takes place just after Super Metroid, isn't
Yeah,
it? So she's still got all her abilities there.
Yeah.
But the guy in charge, was it Malkovich, is in charge
Yeah.
of. He tells us, no, you're banned from using these moves.
Yeah.
until-
I thought that was a
and
bit daft.
I thought it was daft, but at the same time, I thought it was a good, as an interesting solution to essentially making you start the game with no abilities again, and then instead of learning them as the game progresses, you get authorized the use of them.
People
as the
seem
game
really
progresses.
upset about that. As like,
Yeah.
I was like, in every single Metroid game, your abilities get unlocked as you go along.
Yeah.
Does it matter how they do it? It's just like, but
At least it made more
authorised
sense
these
than her
powers.
getting maybe amnesia or something and forgetting all the abilities. And then,
It just it's fine.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's given them scope to add an element of, there's obvious friction between not to get too much into the plot, but there's obvious friction between Samus and the Galactic Federation dudes.
John Malkovich.
Maybe, John Malkovich starring in Metroid Other M.
Malkovich.
Being Adam Malkovich.
Maybe there's going to be, moments where you fire against Malkovich's wishes and things like that, or you have to. She's a renegade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's a rogue.
She's not afraid to break the rules.
she's a real live wire.
Yeah, exactly.
It's clearly a bit of sort of romantic, bit of a romantic past between
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah, there's something dodgy going on.
She refers to an incident.
An incident.
Maybe they used to be
quite
housemates.
unpleasant. But
Maybe there's a toilet seat leaving up or something like
Yeah.
that.
Do you think there's going to be like a
Hair
level
in
where
the
you have
bath,
to sort
yeah.
of blow up his CD collection or something?
Yeah.
I'd like
Use
that.
the morph ball to unblock the bath drains.
shredded his suit one morning.
What did we think of
So that's Metroid.
Portraying Samus as a disgruntled ex. which I'm sure she's not.
No, she's very gruntled.
Yeah.
What did we think of Samus's new look?
Didn't like her hair. Hair was a bit short and fluffy, I thought.
Short and fluffy.
I like it. She's clearly worth it. She used a lot. She's a fair bit of product on the hair there.
A lot of product.
She scrubs up well.
I thought her pneumatic assets were a bit on the...
Yeah.
A pneumatic asset.
That was
Nice.
Teen Ninja of
amplified.
Yeah, I don't think they
certain
can
aspects
resist
of
doing
Samus's character.
bit over the top.
There are a few fairly brazen shots of certain parts of her anatomy, which it's fairly strange, I would say.
Still not quite up there with like Zero Suit Kung Fu Panda, but
Yeah, it's true.
But also like gratuitous shots of really tight kind of
you mentioned that in a...
cod pieces on all the Space Marines. They're like
It's a sexually charged game,
Like,
clearly.
who was it in the 80s who they had like cod pieces? I can't remember who it was. Shalimar or someone like that. But it was just like that.
It's part of the new romantic
Yeah.
era. Yeah, maybe that's the deal. They're all like new romantics or something. I've got no idea what
Spoilers.
I'm talking about.
clearly in whatever time period this game takes place, baggy is out.
Yeah,
Tight fitting is in.
it's all about There's no
They look a bit like those...
not an inch of baggage.
Yeah. Look a bit like those
No.
Action Force figures you used to get, where like they had the really spindly legs, and then the sort of the torso was huge, and there was that sort of weird
Yeah.
plastic bit. And,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
plastic crotch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite scary. It's quite scary stuff.
So yeah, they're the key elements we picked up on there. Just shots of
Plastic crotches.
people's body. Yeah, that's nice.
But on a serious note, I don't. If anyone was worried that it's going to ruin the Metroid formula or be a ridiculous reinvention, they needn't worry because it was really really exciting to play.
Lots of
Yeah.
And
purple.
Yeah.
a lot of traditional Metroid elements in there
Yeah.
as well. Certainly, if you're a big Super Metroid fan, I think
Yeah,
you're going to love it. And
Yeah.
if you're a Prime fan, you're probably going to love it too because it was good.
One of the guys on CVG absolutely hated it.
But he said that even before he
He
went
said
into
that
the
before-
O2.
before
That is true,
he
yeah.
said, "I can't wait to say this game's terrible."
He's clearly wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's clearly wrong.
he's clearly wrong.
It's the one occasion where opinion means nothing. He's actually wrong.
Our opinions are correct. His are incorrect. That's how it works.
Yes.
So yeah, lots more on Metroid Other M
Soon.
in the issue on sale now, alongside Galaxy 2. I'll be honest, slim pickings for reviews this month. Not much coming out,
Yeah.
to be frank. Apart from Red Steel 2, which is coming out soon, but that's going in the next issue because of certain things.
Yeah.
I'm
It'll also
gonna
be
move on.
it'll be on the website the day before.
It'll be on the
release
website.
also.
Yeah, I'm reviewing that at the moment.
Yeah. So if
excellent.
you dive on the O&M website the day before it's out, we'll have a review up then.
Yeah, it's out on the 26th,
Sixth.
I think. Yeah, so it'll be up by then. In the actual issue on sale now, the lead review is Sonic Classic Collection, which is a compilation of Sonic's 1 to 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, that's effectively it. It's it's those 4 games. They still hold up really really well to cynical modern eyes.
I still don't like them.
Really,
No.
Really?
I'll be honest. Sonic 2 is not as good as I remember it, and it's really. I finished it in under 20 minutes.
I remember
reckon.
when I was a kid when they had the...
Absolutely blazed through it.
When I used to be waiting for a bus after school, there was a Comet directly opposite, and they had the Game Gears in that you could play on and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
And they had that on it, and I remember finishing it in like 2 after school sessions of
Yeah.
like 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think for
No
me,
sale.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that is epic. Like it's amazing. Like it's a huge game, genuinely quite difficult. The levels are enormous. For me, it's beats the other 2 into a cocked hat, if that's an expression modern people use.
I don't know if it is.
I don't think it is. I don't know where that came from. Clearly, I've been talking to my dad a bit too much. Yeah, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is a great example of how Sonic games should be, I think. Sonic 1's really, really still very good, apart from the labyrinth zone, which is just hellish,
That boss.
really hellish.
That boss
Yeah.
when you got to chase Robotnik.
Yeah,
Not
so-
Eggman, Robotnik. All the way up the top.
Yeah. It is impossible.
Yeah, it's infuriating.
But luckily they've added a save mechanic in there, so you can hopefully slog through labyrinth zone and then never have to play it again. Starlight Zone in particular,
Best music ever.
amazing music. Yeah. Really, really amazing.
You want to give us a
music.
little rendition?
No. No, I don't.
It's good though.
It's very good.
We had a little go on Sonic 4, didn't we, the other day?
We did, yeah.
Did we like that or
Are
not?
we allowed to talk about that?
Um,
I'm not sure if we are.
let's save it for next month.
Save it for
It's
next
going to be in
month.
next month's issue. We can say that.
Yeah, it's good
yeah.
though.
It looks very interesting. That's all.
Sonic-y.
That's all.
Does indeed.
That's all I'm going to say. Down points on Sonic Classic Collection. Let's move on. It's pretty bare bones. There's nothing else in there apart from those 4 games.
Yeah.
Slightly sort of squiffy port. It's a
So
bit
it's-
zoomed in and...
It's a terrible port. It's really, like they've not even bothered to change the aspect ratio of the screen. So, for example, when you complete it, anyone with a long name, the front and back end of their names gets cut off by the screen.
in the credit sequence.
Yeah, in the credits.
It's pretty lazy.
That's really bad.
That's terrible,
And
yeah.
like in the opening bit, if you can call it a cutscene, really, the opening bit of Sonic and Knuckles, where Sonic
Speeds over the.
speeds through the sea onto the island. Knuckles nicks his Chaos Emeralds. Half the Chaos Emeralds are off the screen.
Oh, really?
Because the sides get chopped off. So
I bet it's got
significantly.
a cool drum beat though, if I remember well.
Has it? I
Time-
can't
oh.
remember. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Actually, yeah, very good.
Thanks. It's from Party Piece. Doing the Knuckles drum beat.
Does that come up as a request
yeah.
often?
Oh,
or?
yeah.
Okay.
Weekly.
Yeah, so it's a fairly. I don't want to say lazy, but
It's lazy.
it's lazy. As well as that, there's still horrific slowdown at times, which is mental considering it's on a DS,
Yeah.
1,000,000 times more powerful.
Yeah.
Bit more care could have gone into that. Maybe some unlockables we could have seen. I really like the Blue Sphere game in Sonic 3, and with Sonic and Knuckles you could plug Sonic 1 into it and
Yeah.
get an infinite number of those. That's not in the DS cartridge either, so
Yeah.
it's not got a massive score. It's still a very, very good score.
It just annoys me that they could have put all the Game Gear and Master System games in there with
Yeah.
little to no effort at all.
I think there's probably sort of cost issues
yeah,
involved
probably.
there.
It's something to do with
I don't-
cartridge sizes.
yeah,
It's like,
cartridge
I mean, it
sizes
could
and so
have
on.
fit in, but
It is
they would have
still
probably had to.
it's 25 quid, so
Yeah.
well, around 25 quid depending on where you
We
shop.
had a big
online.
long debate about that, didn't we? That was
Oh,
like
yeah.
the longest review score debate we'd
Yeah.
ever had, because
Yeah.
at the same time I was reviewing Sonic and Knuckles on Virtual Console, and it was
Yeah.
like, what's more value for
It's
money?
about an hour long. And then
It was
died-
about an hour
It died down,
long.
then it would start up again.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous.
And then no one
Yeah.
talked to each other for about 2 days
Yeah.
afterwards.
yeah.
And then I resigned, and then I just talked back.
It ended in Chris and I battling to the death
On the roof.
Yeah.
above a raging sea.
3 men lost their lives that day. 7 lost their limbs. But
It's true,
that's okay.
but we survived. Although I'm missing a leg. Thanks for that.
That's alright.
Yeah, so that's lead review. Other stuff in the same issue, Fragile Dreams, Simon, which is alongside Rune Factory. Your monthly dose of Japanese
It's been a-
quirkiness.
It's been a bumper month for obscure Japanese adventures.
Yeah.
Rune Factory was amazing. Fragile Dreams should have been amazing. It looks lovely, but there was quite a few sort of problems in playing it that sort of got in the way of the beauteous experience that was sort of desolated Tokyo.
Yeah.
Like the stupid fighting system, which is
It looked really bad.
Yeah,
like,
it just did look rubbish.
You were
Yeah.
hitting someone with a stick for about an hour.
Yeah.
a broomstick or a piece of copper pipe, which if you timed it's all about rhythmic button pressing. So if you press it 3 times in a row, you get a progressively more powerful attack on floating spirits, or weird like tribal masks which attack you for no reason. But yeah, if you time it wrong, then your weapon breaks, and then you have to go back to a save point and meet this weird chicken-headed dude who sells you weapons, and then buy a new weapon, and then go back out and start it again. So it's a bit there's a bit of sort of trudging around, but it's kind of worth it because it is it's a unique looking game. You know, there's not a lot else like it.
It does look amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those examples of a game that hasn't tried to kind of match a next generation console or a high def console. It's just sort of gone its own way and produced its own sort of very distinctive look that's well within what the Wii can do. And it's definitely worth experiencing just for that.
Yeah.
And there's some really nice touches. You know, there's some cool elements, like, you know, the Wii remote's used as a kind of speaker for if you get lost or confused or whatever, you forget what you're supposed to be doing. You just give it a shake, and a little bit of help comes in your ear, sort of thing, telling you where to go. So that's a nice little touch. And yeah, there's loads more like it. It's a really nice game.
Yeah.
But let down by some daft technical flaws.
Yeah. And fans of big eyes and spiky hair.
Yeah.
Will
There's
get their kicks from Rune Factory as well.
Yeah, there's not too much of the emo element going on in Fragile Dreams. It must be stressed. It's not a woe is me sort of game, even though it could be. But Rune Factory, on the other hand, that's amazing. There's loads in that to do.
Yeah.
It's loosely a role playing game, but you farm, or you bake cakes, or you become a scientist,
a
or
role playing game where you don't actually have to do. You don't really have to get involved. You can just do the farming.
You can just potter about and do your own thing for 100 hours. But the general gist of it is that there's a weird force is hovering over this town that you're in, and in order to beat it, you can go around these 5 dungeons and do, you know, standard role playing stuff, like, you know, beating stuff and leveling up and all that business. But the fun bit is actually in town, doing all these jobs and trying to woo. I think there's about 16 women folk in this town.
Ladies.
Yeah,
Sounds like my kind of town.
yeah. And so
what kind of moves did you put on them?
well, I baked a particularly nice potato pie.
Potato pie.
Yeah,
they love
that
that.
worked a treat.
That'll do it.
And I grew some nice strawberries as well.
Nice work.
That netted me 2 wives.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no qualms about multiple marriages.
No,
in
polygamy's
this world.
all the rage in there.
Polygamy. It's a polygamist dream.
They basically love that in all Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, they love it.
Like Little King Story, you can have about 19 wives.
Yeah.
It was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see what's shocking about it. It's all about, you know,
That's
it's just your liberal state of mind.
God knows what goes on in your home life, Simon.
That's the strawberries.
She's got a harem at home.
Is that literally all you've got to do to net a wife is bake her a strawberry tart?
That's not all you have to do. You have to make sure it's the right time of season for the
accurate.
right strawberries. Yeah. There's a lot of care and attention goes into both mastering your culinary skills and your agricultural skills, and then they come together to form a wife-winning pie. Yeah, but,
you don't have to like tell jokes or do work out in the gym or
no. Well, you don't need
show
to
your bank balance.
You don't need to do all that, because if you're working out in a field,
I suppose
you're hoeing, you're so to speak.
Hoeing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Pulling rocks out of the way.
Nothing wrong with that.
All that business. Then you're going to get a good workout.
Yeah.
Plus, with 16 wives, then
good times.
Can you upgrade your hoe?
You can. Yeah.
Nice.
The one you start out with is a bit
level 1 hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit splintery, a bit
flaky.
Not all that efficient when it comes to farming.
Yeah.
I was going to go.
We are talking about farming here, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, farming implements. I was going to go further there, but I think I won't.
Yeah,
I'll save that for podcast.
16 wives.
Let's leave
that's a lot of nagging. Is there a lot of sort of?
That's harsh, Fred.
That's such a stereotype, Fred.
The female listenership.
As if we're not in hot water already. With our female listeners.
Do you have to sort of evade later on in the game? Do you have to sort of hide from your wives in case they try to get you to some chores or something?
I didn't find there was any evasion going on because I was happily
so
ensconced.
happy,
I was fine.
blissfully happy.
Yeah,
under the thumb.
I imagine
16
maybe someone with a more closed mindset might find it hard going.
Eat that.
Sounds to me like Simon's character was under the thumb.
You've been brainwashed, haven't
Very
you?
good though. It's very good.
It's a good game at the end of the day.
Okay, but the highest scoring highest scoring game in the issue, Infinite Space, which is an unbelievably hardcore spacefaring
That's
RPG.
It's mad.
which
yeah.
is
It looks mental.
also utterly brilliant. But not for.
Not for everyone, possibly.
I would say, yeah, not for your average Joe.
There's a lot. Well, it kind of looks like Star Trek. Build your own Star Trek, basically.
Yeah.
At first, but it's there's a lot of your typical quirks going on in there. There's loads to get through in terms of what you do, in terms of building. Essentially, you've got to build your own fleet.
Yeah.
And kind of engage in wars with other worlds, basically.
Yeah.
And to do that, you've got to balance this huge, mighty fleet. It's like something like Battlestar Galactica, where you've got carrier ships, you've got smaller attack craft, and all that sort of stuff. And the range is huge that you can choose from and combine to build your fleet.
And there's got a fairly sort of epic plot of your overcoming all odds and stuff like that.
Saving the univer's from...
There's a
basically,
fairly bonkers part that you mentioned in the review about one of your space chums getting too drunk and then dressing up as a woman, and then some aliens arrive and go, "Hey, sexy lady," and they kidnap your drunk mate who's dressed as a woman, thinking it's a lady.
Yeah.
So it's got a
Sort of slapstick element there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's got
take
a sprinkling
itself
of bonkersness in
seriously at all. It's
Yeah.
The story's mad, and you also play a little bit of a part in that as well, because the way you kind of design your ships influences your crew. So if you have a kind of a very hard work ethic running through your ships, there's no sort of recreation rooms or anything like that, then your crew are going to be kind of finely tuned, very serious, and so the funniest stuff wouldn't come into play.
Yeah.
But if
Put in a pool table and...
if you've got like a swimming pool deck and all that sort
Stick
of
a
business,
bar in,
Dartboard.
and all hell breaks loose.
yeah, like a farmyard for some strawberry pie making polygamy business as well, then it's a bit of a party ship, and then all that sort of stuff suddenly comes into play. So how you build your fleet and how you sort of decide to play, that dictates how effective you are as a fighting force, but it also kind of brings in the weirder elements to the story as well.
Yeah.
So.
And given the very high score, I think that's a glowing. Clearly not for everyone, but
No, it's not.
if you're into your hardcore RPG,
Yeah, it's
spacefaring.
It's another one of those that kind of rewards people who will keep at it through the first sort of 5 or 6 really tedious hours. And they are pretty tedious.
There's immensely rewarding.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Definitely.
Check it out.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
that's Simon's glut of Japanese themed games for this month.
More next month.
Undoubtedly more next month. And finally, a quick word about Calling from Christopher J. Scullion.
T. Thomas.
Tiberius.
Christopher Thomas Scullion.
Quick word about Calling is it is bad.
Yeah.
It's just rubbish. It's like The Grudge, but it controls slightly better, and it's equally unterrifying and equally plodding.
Yeah.
You're just walking about corridors. Occasionally your phone will go off and you hold it to your ear and some ghost will say, "I'm downstairs." Oh, all right. And then it rings again and goes, "I'm upstairs now." And then this rubbish kind of like schoolgirl ghost appears and then you just waggle the remote and then it goes away again.
There's some brilliant
Awful.
cutscenes, to be fair. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not sure.
Is it intentionally funny?
I'm not sure humour was what they were going for, but I think terror more. But yeah, it's funny stuff.
Yeah. I think is it time to draw a line under these terrible horror games?
Yeah,
that we've
I mean,
seen
if
of
like,
late.
No more torch games.
I think the problem is, yeah, they're focusing more on fear, and fear doesn't really work unless you do it perfectly. It's a really hard thing to properly do. I think if they focus more on plot, like Silent Hill, isn't an amazingly terrifying game, but it's a great game because you want to keep playing to see what happens.
Yeah.
You don't want to just run about an empty hall. And the annoying thing is, you don't find the torch until like maybe halfway through each level, and before you find the torch, you actually can't look or study look at or study anything in the whole room. Even though you can see it, you walk up to a school desk and there's like loads of magazine stuff on the desk, and you can see there's stuff on the magazines. And you look over and press A and say, "You can't see anything in the dark. You need a torch." I'm like, "Well, I can see it, so just tell me what it says." No, I need a torch, mate.
That sounds
It's
properly
compelling.
awful.
Couldn't you just have a finger, like a forefinger, like pointing where the torch should be? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's just so frustrating. It's like, no, really, really bad,
Yeah,
which is disappointing.
don't
so-
bother,
No, I was up for it. But no.
listeners. So that's
The reviews
that's
of the
plenty of games, previews and reviews covered. Our lovingly crafted features this month go under the names of Why DS is the greatest console ever. Perfectly fine and not at all bold claim.
It's not a bold claim.
And Virtual Unknowns. The first.
I wrote it, and
Fred.
I think the DS is pretty cool, obviously, because I wrote that feature.
Hmm.
I can
you
see.
stand by?
I stand by it as well.
Your claim.
I think anyone who would read it and read my carefully constructed arguments,
It's very well argued.
very
Frederick.
well argued. It's backed up with facts and figures.
Yeah, it's true.
Indeed.
I think what it's done for, in a wider sense, what it's done for video games, much like Wii, can't be questioned. It's an immensely successful,
Yeah.
very mainstream thing, which
But,
angers angry men on the internet.
I mean, it obviously is a mainstream console, but at the same time, it's got this massive library of ridiculously hardcore games as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, like crazy amounts of RPGs, like
Yeah.
ridiculous shooters, and like Bang.io and all that
But
sort of stuff.
that's the thing, isn't it? It's sold such a phenomenal amount.
It's like literally
it's-
something for everybody,
it's
isn't it?
there's literally something for everyone. The
Yeah.
audience there is so enormous that
yeah.
There can be a single person on Earth where there's not a DS game suitable for
Suitable
them.
for them. There's just so many games on
true.
it. Like people say, "Oh no, SNES is better." Well, no, because all the great SNES games are on the DS as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think it's awesome. I love
think
it. I think it's brilliant.
You came up with a really good point in your blog the other week as well about how there are all these hardcore games which used to be on things like the SNES and stuff, but now you couldn't imagine playing them on any other console apart from the DS.
Yeah, it's become and the whole sort of
Become the home of
retro.
remakes,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
It's kind of shone a real light on retro gaming
Yeah.
and
Even games that sort of suck up hours and hours of your life, you wouldn't want to sit in front of the TV playing. You'd be quite happy
Yeah,
playing on
exactly.
the DS.
I kind of hope if they eventually do make a sequel to, or like a new DS that isn't just an upgrade, if that ever happens, I hope obviously they make it more powerful, but they don't make it so powerful that people aren't going to keep making stuff like that, because as soon as that happens, then that's kind of essentially killed off 16-bit, because the DS is the last of the 16-bit gaming.
Mm.
strongholds.
Yeah,
I think if it
It'll
were
always
to,
be,
if it were to happen, then they've got to introduce VC on DS at some
yeah,
point. haven't they?
because I mean, I'm just
It's got
thinking.
to
I mean,
happen.
obviously, you would get some people still wanting to do it, but you look at, for example, the PSP, which is clearly better graphics, but as a result of that, the majority of developers are focusing on the graphics, and
Well,
there aren't
it's
so
dead.
many 16-bit
It is
style
basically
games
dead,
on
isn't it, PSP?
which is
Oh,
well,
Well, there's not
It's
much
pretty
coming
much
out
dead.
for it. I mean,
Well,
Come on.
a lot of my mates now they just use that for reading comics on. That's, they don't even bother playing games on it. They just use the screen for
Legally, of
viewing
course.
media. Yeah,
And this is pretty amazing considering, many years ago before the DS came out, I had a different job which involved talking to industry people, and across the board, the sort of voice of the industry was saying
Doom.
PSP is the new Walkman. It's going to take over the world. Forget Nintendo and their crazy DS. It's not going to happen. And here we are, 5 years later.
it's conquered the universe.
It is literally the
Yeah.
most. It is the most popular console ever made, right?
yeah.
Almost. I think it's got like another 5 million units before it's
Yeah.
sold more than PS2.
It's probably sold 5 million units in the time it's
Between
taken
us
to
recording
record this podcast.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
There's as well as it's got great retro games. It's got great first party franchise games. Like the Zelda games are great on it. The Mario games are great on it. It's got and also apart from the retro stuff, it's sort of shone a light on just absolutely mental Japanese games that would never have found an audience if it were not for something like the
Absolutely.
DS. You know, something like Rhythm Heaven and Professor Layton,
Rhythm Heaven in particular is an interesting
Elite
one
Beat
because
Agents.
my my other half got into it purely because it was advertised by Beyonce. Because she's a fan, and my girlfriend playing a game which is mental. Any other console, it would be regarded as an obscure Japanese
Hopelessly
curio.
niche, yeah.
But
Somehow,
it's got the UK. It was actually very successful when it came out last summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo are very clever in the way they market things, and I think that speaks volumes that
Yeah.
that people of all ages and
Creeds.
It makes you
shapes and
wonder.
sizes.
Makes you wonder what
ODS.
games like 10, 15 years ago. What other games would have been a success had they had that sort of marketing nous behind them?
Yeah.
Rather than being sort of
Shoved
cast
out
aside
there,
as
yeah.
just sort of far too niche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and games like Style Boutique, it's not really for us as a magazine for more dedicated gamers.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, I don't think we've reviewed it, but it's apparently a very
I've messed around with it for a while. I understand it's actually quite.
it's actually pretty good
Yeah, it's pretty good
for what it is and
Yeah.
the market it's aimed at.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good product. So
How's your clothes shop doing then?
It's booming.
you can download designs made by Beyonce,
Yeah,
I
Beyonce's
believe.
mum.
Yeah,
Really?
His mum made some clothes. She's like,
yeah.
download
I'll
it.
get on that as soon as
Yeah.
we get out of the studio. I
I
think.
might recommend that to the missus.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think you read the feature, and then dare to argue with me. But I just, I don't think
you will
there's
get people
actually-
arguing. You'll get people saying, but Gears of War isn't on it,
Tell
so
me-
therefore it's not the best handheld ever.
Tell me what, but a
What voice
Nintendo
is that?
console.
That's
is,
generic English
That's the
accent.
voice of an Xbox owner,
That's
is
a
it?
generic English accent from a Scotsman. But
That's
I
pretty
think
poor.
Gears of War. No. There we go.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Hello, Mary Poppins.
There's also a little jab at a
Factoid.
certain other console. 0. Number of times any of O&M's numerous DSs have broken, worn out, or required repair.
Topical.
Oh,
Huh?
zing.
I think I wrote that before certain issues came to light with other
Wow.
consoles. But
Certain
Prescient.
ongoing issues with,
well, yeah, certain
Yeah.
other consoles made by certain other manufacturers.
yeah.
But it's fair to say, like, say what you like about
I've never-
Nintendo
I've never
consoles,
had a
but they
Nintendo
never
console.
break.
Right.
Never.
Ever. No.
Like, literally, in the original Game Boy, you can lob it off the Eiffel Tower and it will not break.
Yeah, isn't
Well,
there
there's a thing in-
famously one,
Yeah,
the
there's
one
one
in
in-
Nintendo store
Yeah,
that
in
got
New York.
blown up in Iraq or something?
Yeah, they found it in the Gulf. They found it in the rubble of the Gulf War, and it's
Yeah.
like covered. It's
And it
basically
still
melted.
works.
It's
You can
melted,
still play
covered in
Tetris on it.
concrete,
It's
and it's still
insane.
running Tetris.
Amazing.
Like, if any time you're in New York, go to Nintendo World Store and you can see it. It is basically a melted Game Boy
Yeah.
playing Tetris.
That's amazing.
Genuinely amazing. I can't think of. I think I thought my NES broke once, but I hadn't. Do you remember the NES? You had to switch between TV
Oh yeah.
and NES mode.
Oh,
I turned it on and not switched it across. And I thought, oh no, it's
gone.
broken. And I was mortified. There might have been tears. And I told my mum, and she just went, clicked the switch. Oh, it's working. Ah.
Were you in tears?
That
Were
was
you
the
weeping?
closest I've ever come to Nintendo
To
console
suicide.
breaking. And suicide. as like a 6-year-old boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't do
Let's
suicide,
move on.
kids.
Let's seriously move on.
Virtual Unknowns?
Virtual Unknowns, which is kind of as it says on the tin. It's less well-known virtual console game because
There's billions out there.
yeah, there's a stupid amount of games from the past, which there's a fair few stinkers, but there's a fair few hidden gems.
Mm.
Got to give us some examples from the feature now.
No, because I don't have the magazine in front of me.
Such as possibly Chotaniki.
I don't think
well,
Shoniki put in an appearance actually, but
Oh,
that is
they're
quite
not-
fun.
It's mental.
I'll be honest, I've not heard of a fair few of these. Earthworm Jim 2. I never got around to playing that on Mega Drive.
I wouldn't necessarily say that was. Oh yeah, I suppose nowadays it's more of an unknown game.
It's
yeah.
not that unknown. Right, yeah.
It's pretty
I
well
know.
known, but
Comic Zone.
mm.
I remember rave reviews about that in Sega Power.
Yeah, that was good. I think Star Tropics is the one that would surprise most people as to how good it is.
Yeah.
Because it was the NES kind of Zelda Earthbound style adventure game that was actually developed by Nintendo and came out in America but not in Japan.
Developed by the guy who has since gone on to didn't he design the Wii Remote or something?
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, like proper kind
it's
of.
It's a really clever.
Nintendo
At the
tech,
time when the game came out, you got a letter with it, written by some professor guy, and basically at some point in the game, someone says, "Put the letter in water," and you don't know what they're talking about until you realise it's the actual letter that came with the game. And if you dip the letter in like a bowl of water, the password appears on the letter.
Oh, that's
how
amazing.
So they've kind of replicated it for the Virtual Console one. If you go into the each game's got a system manual. If you go into that, it shows you the letter and you can reveal the code
virtually
on
dip
that.
it into water.
It's a pretty cool idea.
Awesome.
Top Hunter, Roddy and Kathy. I've never heard of that. It sounds rubbish, but it's probably good.
It's decent, yeah. It's
Sounds
decent.
rude.
There's a lot. It's a weird. It's a Neo Geo game, so it looks like there's a lot of side scrolling. But instead of like shooting like in Metal Slug, you're grabbing people and flinging them with big robotic arms and stuff. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, some interesting stuff in there. Devil World, Miyamoto's first game. Pac-Man clone.
One of his first.
One of his first games.
One of his
Banned
first.
in America for being blasphemous.
Yeah, for various religious iconography.
Good grief.
So if you want to annoy a vicar, download that. We've rambled on way too long. We need to get a move on. Okay, we're more fun from Matthew Davidson.
Yep.
Let's read the questions.
You have mail.
Nice.
That's awesome, isn't it? I think really, really good.
I think I'd blow up my laptop if it made that sort of noise at me. That's just that's the sound of a cold dead lady, isn't it?
That's okay.
I liked it, but I would be quite scared.
You
Are we giving them?
mail.
I thought that was quite jolly.
Time to die. You have
Are we going to give the big man some kind of?
yeah,
reward
well,
for his
that
efforts?
was the competition. So he's won a snooker.
Yeah,
cue.
we've sort of blown
With
the.
Neil's name on it.
Yeah, you've won my snooker cue.
I think we should
Well
probably,
done,
we
mate.
should probably do something a bit.
Yeah,
extra.
some fun.
Well, I'll put him on the
Beyond.
subscription list.
Yeah,
Right.
That's as much as we can offer, sadly.
sad days.
Yeah, read the questions. Lewis Fielding asks, what is your favourite generation of console gaming?
Wow.
Controversial. Seeing as you love the DS so much, Fred.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna
your favourite
I'm gonna
generation
probably
is
stick
right
with
now.
the DS because obviously
Yeah.
if I don't stick with the DS, then I'm completely
Yeah,
scuttled the
You're
authority
ruining
of
your
my
own.
feature. So I'll stick with that. But generally, I challenge you to think of a better generation, console generation than DS. Go.
yeah.
Well, we can't really undermine that feature. I can't either. I think
Well, you can.
I'm
If
gonna
you could-
fully
You
undermine
can in
it.
terms of
If you can back up
personal. In terms of like personal, I would say 16-bit, but that's just because and 8-bit. But because just like the
Hold
older
on,
games.
which?
Okay, 8.
8-bit.
Really?
Really?
though?
But that's just
Really,
because
though?
but that's because at the time everything was new to me, but that's just
Yeah.
for personal. I
don't
can't
think
say I can't say like for everyone 8-bit is the best generation. Just
Thing is
personally
now,
for
if
me,
you go
that was the
back,
best.
if you go back to those old 8-bit games,
Not many of them
Yeah.
stand up
then
now.
not
do
many
they?
of them stand up.
Yeah,
The
but
true solid gold like classics like the Mario games and
Yeah.
DuckTales.
and DuckTales, of course.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
got to mention it.
Bosh.
They
Really
stand
missed it
up
there.
to today's sort of standards, but
Yeah, but even but I mean like at the time,
oh yeah, you can't beat the excitement of
no
as a boy
stuff like even like
getting a new
Castlevania
NES
2, Simon's Quest, which looking back now is one of the worst games of all time. Was great back then.
game. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pretty torn. I don't.
I think the
In terms of nostalgia, I'd say 8-bit, but in terms of just blowing my mind, like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Pilot Wings, Star Fox 64, N64 was amazing.
yeah, I was
really,
going to say that.
really amazing.
In terms of like stuff blowing your mind when you should
Yeah.
really know better. Shadows of the Empire. I thought that was amazing when I first played that, and looking back on it, probably wasn't all.
I did like that.
I think
But those first few steps outside the castle in Mario 64,
Yeah.
I just think
yeah.
I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I did anyway. I was
gutted because I
absolutely
went
breathtaking.
I went on a school trip to Paris and I got my N64 like 2 days before it, so I was properly like blitzing through Mario 64, and then I had to go to Paris to Disneyland, and I was actually gutted about going to Disneyland because I had Mario 64.
I don't want to go to
back home.
Disneyland, Mum.
No, I hate you, Mickey. So I ended up with it. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it probably depends on when you grew up and how old you
Yeah.
are and
Yeah.
what was around. But every console generation brings with it a sort
Classics.
of
Yeah.
an excitement and something.
Yeah.
I did like the
sort of shock
noise.
of the new and
Yeah.
I did like the noise that the GameCube made when you booted it up. It did
Yeah.
that sort
Oh,
of.
very cool.
Yeah, really like that.
Yeah.
I was a big GameCube fan. I don't know if everyone was, but I wouldn't say it was the best generation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was
Poor old
underrated.
GameCube.
Poor
He
old
gets
GameCube.
a bad right.
It does, but it did have some games that I think PS2 and Xbox owners would have been jealous of,
Yeah,
like Smash Brothers Melee and stuff like that. Were still
Yeah.
classics at the time.
absolutely.
But yeah.
But yeah, not anyone's list here, I'm afraid. Lewis, thanks for your question. Chris Leach, if your life had to be like a game series, would it be Phoenix Wright Legal Drama, Pokemon Be the Best, or Metroid Bounty Hunter?
Probably legal drama for us.
Yeah, we've,
All the lawsuits we get.
we've had some legal dramas as a
Yeah.
result of this podcast.
Yeah, Tim
Um,
Westwood. No, just to clarify, we've never had any legal drama
No,
from Tim
we
Westwood.
haven't actually, and we don't want any. I think we've got away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not. I don't know.
It's an interesting.
It's an interesting question.
It's basically
If your
saying,
life
would
had to
you-
be like a game series?
Be a bit. I think mine would be most like Paperboy probably.
The simple
Throw
joy of
magazines
delivering
at people.
newspapers. I know, being the dude in Pilot Wings has got a pretty sweet life, hasn't he? Just
But is that like your life?
no,
It's not that sweet a life, I don't think. 'Cause he gets thrown out of an airplane at 10,000 feet and
yeah,
starts plummeting
it's pretty
straight
cool.
into
Yeah,
the
only
earth.
if you're controlling him.
Yeah,
just cruising around in a hang glider. I think that'd be amazing.
yeah.
Fun
Agreed.
times. Get a jetpack on.
Agreed.
Any other contributions to that?
I don't know.
I'd like
I
my
think-
life to be like DuckTales, because then I would
we've
have
already
a
done the
swimming.
DuckTales
but no,
joke.
but it works for this because Scrooge McDuck's got a big pool made of gold coins, and I wouldn't mind
That's
that.
true. Dangerous though. You can't jump from that height into a pool of metal.
No,
You'd-
health and safety would be right on top of that.
Don't
nowadays.
get ideas, anyone. If you see a large pile of coins, don't die. You can't literally swim through it.
That's why DuckTales doesn't exist today, because of health and
Yeah.
safety. Like Scrooge McDuck's like, but I like my pond. No,
If online editor Tom East was here, I know what his answer would be to this
That's
particular.
true. Yeah,
It would be cooking mama.
he is
would-
the
He is
cooking
the
papa.
resident.
He's soon to be a father, in fact.
Yes.
So
yeah,
congratulations.
He'd be
Tom.
cooking
Mini
papa,
East.
wouldn't he? Yeah.
cooking papa. A mini East on the way.
Yeah, which we're hoping he calls Kanye.
Kanye East. Wait,
Would
it's
be
not,
incredible, wouldn't it?
He's calling it Herbert.
He is.
Herb.
Yes.
Herb
That's,
East.
that's very true.
Hair beast.
Yeah, I said if it goes to
Beast.
Germany, it would be called Herb Beast, Mr. Beast. In
It's
Germany.
good. It's a strong name.
It's a strong name.
Can't deny that.
No,
Congratulations, Tom.
Congratulations, Tom, and yeah,
Wife.
And
wife.
Mrs. Yeah,
I think she's got a role to play
Janie.
in the.
fairly major roles.
Yeah.
My understanding of biology goes. Yeah.
moving on.
Final question, and we've already overrun. This is a travesty.
That's a bumper one with
Yeah,
Galaxy and stuff.
it's
isn't it?
Galaxy. That's fine. Anthea Gorgali.
Gorgali.
Good
Okay.
name.
I was just wondering how you find the time to play all those games, review them, write features, go on your forum, do a great podcast. Great? Oh, that's a question.
Passable.
And
Average.
still find the time to do normal human things like eat, sleep, and talk about Fred's Alley.
Quite a simple answer to this. We don't do normal human things.
No,
like eat,
we
sleep,
don't.
and talk.
We are Nintendo cyborgs employed.
You've just got to get creative. You've got to,
Where do you
first
find the
step is install a TV in the bathroom.
Yeah,
So when you're on the loo, you can blast for a few levels of
time? Yeah.
some terrible WiiWare game.
Hemorrhoids.
Yeah, yeah. There is a occupational hazard. You get a lot of piles.
Nasty.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty time-consuming job. Not always a bad thing, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realise how much actually goes into it. Because
Yeah.
say you're reviewing Pokemon, and then you've got to do a guide for it.
Yeah,
You're essentially playing
as
Pokemon.
discussed last month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're essentially playing Pokemon for the most
Yeah.
part of your free time. Which isn't a bad thing, but
yeah. I stayed in Sunday afternoon to review a game, and I said to my lady friend, "I'm staying in to do some work." And she said, "Oh, what you got to
That
do?"
never works.
And I
does
was
it?
like, "I've got to play Red Steel 2." She's like, "That's not really work, is it?" Yeah, but it is. This is technically work, all right?
Yeah.
So
I need the TV, I need the sofa,
yeah,
and
you need to,
I need you out of the
You need
house.
to go out
Yeah.
with your friends, and yeah,
no more Beyonce for now.
Ooh, yeah. Take your copy of Rhythm Paradise and get out.
Do one.
Oh, I hope you baked her a strawberry tart after that.
Yeah, big potato pie.
Keep her sweet.
If you
Yeah.
like it, you should put a
No
ring
problem.
on it, I believe.
Oh,
Moving on.
Awkward silence. Oh, that's awkward.
Don't let her listen to this.
Let's move on. If you have topics you want us to fumble over like we just have, email us at onm@futurenet.com with the subject heading podcast question. It's pretty clear who's won this month's competition, and
Let's have-
here is the man who's won. It's genuinely brilliant.
Nicely done.
Yeah, really good. Well
Yeah.
done, Matthew Davidson. You've won a snooker cue with Neil Long inscribed in it
worst
sort of
prize
gold.
ever.
in gold leaf.
It's amazing how the best entry of all time has received the worst prize of all time.
Yeah, sorry about that, Matthew.
He is on the subs list as well, though,
competition
now,
death.
isn't
Yeah, I'll put him on the subs list. If you actually do want that snooker cue, let me know. Email me at neil.long@futurenet.com. I can send it out. If you don't want me to bother,
Yeah,
that's
we
fine.
won't be offended.
I won't be offended or anything. God. Ooh, from a dark place to an even darker place. This month's prize is a copy of Twilight Seen It.
Oh Lord, is it?
One on Wii,
Yeah.
one on DS.
What are we
Oh.
deliberately trying to get no entries for our
Yeah.
competitions?
Listen, I think you'll be amazed at the feedback. Apparently, I've
The sheer
done
misery
some
about to be
I've done
reflected
some
upon us.
research, and apparently Twilight is the in thing just now.
Is it?
My other half likes it.
Okay.
For reasons that I cannot understand. And yeah, apparently it's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Is it?
So I hear.
There can be nothing better
Vampires and that.
than vampires plus werewolves plus now a quiz.
Plus looking mournfully into the distance from
Yeah,
that
exactly.
sort of thing.
And
Pale
acting
faces
really
and
badly.
Dodgy
Yeah.
eyes.
But we're all big fans.
Yeah.
We want you to win a copy of Twilight Seen It. We want you to send us your best example of emo poetry. No more than 4 lines in length.
Yeah.
So
Like an emo sort of limerick or
yeah,
something. Haiku.
sort of
haiku.
maudlin
Yeah, that's good.
haiku
Yeah.
involving possibly themes of alienation, fitting in,
Disenfranchisement.
disenfranchisement.
Yeah. Maybe stay away from
Ennui, perhaps.
maybe stay away from the kind of self-harm side of things because no one
Yeah,
wants
let's not go.
that. Yeah.
Let's not go too
Yeah,
far.
cheer up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, it can't be any longer.
It would be
than 4
pretty
lines.
funny. And we'll read them out to some sort of weepy music
Yeah.
Good.
next
Yeah.
month.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And
Who's got the most theatrical voice? Then we should really make a
Hello.
show of it.
Get Brian Blessing,
Brian
possibly.
Blessing,
Yeah. We're going to do that.
You should also state in your entry whether you want the DS version or the Wii version.
Yeah.
Because no one really wants both. Let's face it. So we'll have two winners.
Either of them.
Unless you really want to trade some games in.
Game Station. Other game shops are available.
Yeah, absolutely.
CEX, for example.
Yeah, which is very good.
Is it? I always get a bit
it's very
scared
good.
in there. It's always a bit scruffy and there's some
It's-
shifty,
Nah, they're
shifty
great.
Pretty nasty
Play
in
lots
there,
of emo
yeah.
music in there, don't they?
Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that all the floors are metal in there. Really
Yeah, you
industrial
feel,
shops.
feel like you're in Quasar.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah, email your
Email us your
poetry
best emo poetry to onm@futurenet.com with the subject heading Podcast 7 Emo Competition.
the raps. We've got 3
Oh, we
raps.
got
Have we
we've
got
got some
time? or
raps.
have
We got some late entries last
Yeah,
month
yeah.
for our
Yeah,
rap
let's do the raps.
competition.
Okay, right. We got
We
3 more entries. Unfortunately, these people
amazing.
may or may not.
They can't
be
get
able to
prizes, but they were amazing enough for us to
Oh, they're
play them
brilliant.
this time. Yeah. So this one is Can we say the name of that one?
No.
Okay, this is one from Sam Nicol and Adam Hollis, which we
Yo! Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Sitting down playing Super Smash Brothers Bros. While you are here listening to our song, I'll be away playing Donkey Kong or maybe on my DS or maybe on my Wii. I gotta get my piece of Mario and Luigi. Our rhymes are hot like a fire flower. Our beats are sick, they give us star power.
Yeah.
and so on and so forth.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's
My
pretty
rhymes are hot like a fire flower. Amazing. Brilliant.
There's one here from Ian Boast. I can't remember it, but shall we try it anyway?
Ian Boast.
Yeah, he's
Did he win last time?
Ian
contributed
Boast.
stuff in the past.
Okay.
The rapper with the most. You see, I can rhyme too.
Oh, this was the interesting one.
Okay. I've heard this one.
It started out as a story around 3 characters: Link, Zelda, and the evil.
Ian Boast there. Boast by name, Boast by nature.
I don't know if that counts. Does that count as music?
Just about. There's sound.
That's
The best of the
fair
bunch.
play to him, though.
But easily
That's
the best of the bunch was
impressive
Eve,
effort.
Eve
Yeah.
Aspinall, who
Absolutely, yeah.
took the Fresh Prince music and turned it into an O&M rap. This is amazing.
Now this is a rap all about how O&M spins my head right round. And I'd like to tell you about the best mag out there, Official Nintendo magazine. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I like it. Gia also gives Balcombe Street a shout out.
Really? She's done a
Instead of-
research.
yeah.
Hold on. Let's stay silent.
In Balcombe Street, they spend their days telling you about the best Nintendo games. The coolest gang, they're miles ahead. Neil, Simon, Chris, Tom and Fred, they're the funniest guys and they get stuff done. With occasionally a brilliant pun. Subscribe to the best podcast out there, Official Nintendo magazine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just musically accomplished, but also a strong message.
Yeah, a strong message.
Absolutely.
One that I think
What
today's
rings through the ages.
children could maybe learn
Timeless.
a thing or two from that. So yeah,
That was that.
That was absolutely
if
brilliant.
only that had come in earlier, that would have won
Yeah.
it by
Swept out.
miles.
Really, really good. Thanks for that. What's her name? Sorry.
Eve Aspinall.
Well done, Eve Aspinall. You are among
You're an
the
aspiration.
O&M greats.
Aspinall,
Hall
the
of
aspiration.
Fame.
Absolutely. If you want to send in more sound files that we can fumble around and play towards the end of the podcast, that would be great. Send them to onm@futurenet.com. The subject heading podcast jingles.
Shenanigans.
What are we going to say? Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Good word.
Audio shenanigans.
Audio shenanigizzo. if we're doing a Westwood thing. I don't know.
Yes.
Probably not. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for listening. If you want to send in questions for next time, onm@futurenet.com. Subject heading podcast question. Just to reiterate, issue 54 is out now. It's got Galaxy 2 in it, Metroid Other M, loads of other stuff, and also something we haven't mentioned, £5 off Pokemon Heart Gold / Soul Silver.
Can't complain. So essentially, we're actually giving you money.
It's technically free.
Yeah.
It's
If you
technically,
get
you
your
go
£5
into
off,
the newsagent, buy it, and it's like getting £1 and 1p back, and
Also-
a magazine.
yeah.
a pretty a sterling subs offer this month as well, where we send you a copy of Scribblenauts on DS just
Yeah.
for subscribing.
You'd be a fool not to.
Thanks for listening. Check out the website www.officialnintendomagazine.co.uk. Have a look on Twitter @ONM_UK and facebook.com/official Nintendo magazine. Apologies for the cold that I've got, which has made my voice sound really
Sexy.
dodgy.
Always nice to say that right at the very end.
Yeah.
People are guessing all
Yeah.
the way through it.
Yeah, just in case you were wondering.
Can I add to that? Has anyone else been getting electric shocks the entire way through this podcast?
Oh no, no, not
literally-
just. Oh no, I thought you meant over the course of the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I
Not-
have
not-
been as well.
Not just now, but yeah.
There's something in
Yeah,
the air.
Liam's next door with a little button.
Yeah, tell us
Buzzing
about
us
it.
every
Like
time we
Venkman
make
out of Ghostbusters.
buzzing us every time we make a joke. Ooh,
Literally, every time I move my hand onto a different surface, I get like 50,000 volt electric shock. It's not good.
it's
not.
bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, bye.
I don't know where to move on from that. Thanks very much for listening. Speak to you next month. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Bye bye.